It seems like all the games nowadays are open world and are sandbox. These designs are quite popular with players and first got really famous after GTA. Now we've also heard any open world game being called a sandbox. So is an open world and sandbox the same thing? Hey folks, this is Mahanavas from SegmentNext, and today we'll try and see what is the difference between open world and sandbox in modern gaming. Let's start by defining what they both mean in technical terms. Open world is an environment like a visual world that is open for the player to roam around and explore. The game is often non-linear, meaning that you aren't pushed to complete scripted missions as they come, but you can set the main storyline aside and roam around to do other things in the environment. Essentially, you're almost free to play and explore as you please. Open world games do enforce some restrictions nonetheless because of technical limitations or some in-game limitations that linearity can pose. Another major feature of open world games is that they don't have the invisible walls and loading screens that are found in linear levels. The main appeal of open world gameplay is that they provide a simulated reality and allow players to develop their character and its behavior in the direction of their choosing. GTA, Assassin's Creed, The Rise of the Tomb Raider, Far Cry, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Horizon Zero Dawn are just a few examples of such games. Although these open world games have a story with an end goal to it, but there's no end to the game since players can keep on playing and treading the game universe even after the story finishes. As far as the term sandbox is concerned, it's taken from a literal sandbox at a children's playground. Much like the real-world sandbox where kids have the full permission to do as they may within those set boundaries, sandbox games propose the same idea. A game in which the player has been freed from traditional video game structure and direction and instead chooses what, when, and how they want to approach the available content. One extremely obvious and popular example of such a game is Minecraft, where you're building your own world with 3D blocks, and sky is the limit. Or maybe not, because you can build a portal and go to space. Speaking of skies, another example is No Man's Sky, where you're exploring some 15 quintillion planets, all the while gathering resources and stuff. So that's the kind of crazy freedom you get in sandbox games. Other examples include Garry's Mod, Elder Scrolls Online, and a game literally named The Sandbox. So that kind of puts a stamp on our definition of the term. But here's the catch. While some sandbox games may include building and creative activities, they are not required. Sandbox games generally employ an open-world setting to facilitate the player's freedom of choice. So let's reel back and go over the core difference between the two. From what's been explained, it can be gathered that open world is a descriptor for the game's structure, defining how the map is laid out and how you access various parts of it. To put it simply, you can go anywhere. Sandbox, on the other hand, is a descriptor for the game's gameplay philosophy. It implies a degree of autonomy where the fun to be had is entirely dependent on your actions as opposed to any previously built set-piece moments put in there by the developers. To put this simply, you can do anything. Now, there are also games that don't fall on the traditional definition of the term sandbox, but they have sandbox levels like Halo. The Silent Cartographer level in Halo Combat Evolved is one of the best examples of a really good sandbox. They put you in the level and you can just play in it. At any point, you can choose to complete a couple of tasks that will advance the level, but outside of that, you can just race around the island all day if you want, or swim around in the ocean, or try to use bombs to launch vehicles onto the top area of the island, which you're not even supposed to be able to reach, but if you do, it still exists and nothing breaks. Or you can just mess around shooting your troops and so on and on. But then there's a merger of the two that often makes it hard to differentiate between them. There are multiple open-world sandbox games out there that not only provide you the freedom of going anywhere you want and whenever you want, but also making influential differences to the in-game world. Top examples include Far Cry, Fallout, GTA of course, Red Dead Redemption 2, Hitman, Tomb Raider, Assassin's Creed, and more. These games not only provide with an expansive world to iterate, but with enough sandbox elements to let you play as you will. With that difference explained, there are a ton of new and exciting open world games to look forward to in 2018, like Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Darksiders 3, and Biomutant are just a few games that I'm looking forward to. Let us know yours, and while you're at it, then like this video and don't forget to subscribe to SegmentNext. Until next time.